a lot, Mr. Chairman.
Welcome. I'd like to call this Greenville County Council Committee of the Whole meeting to order, and we will get started with invocation. I'll call on Councilor Seaman, please.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Let us pray. Gracious and Heavenly Father, we are so grateful for the opportunity to serve our county and our citizens. Be with us at this meeting and our other meetings as we deliberate the work. And as always, we ask all these things in your Son's name. Amen.
Amen. Thank you. Next on the agenda is approval of minutes.
Move approval of the minutes from the June 16th meeting.
Thank you. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? The ayes have it. We'll now move to agenda item 4, which is Greenville Water presentation. I believe we have Mr. Jeff Boss, who's the CEO of Greenville Water here. Welcome, sir.
Thank you for inviting us, Chair and Council. We were asked to come and just give a quick update on Greenville Water, and then we also have a YouTube video that we produced, and that is at the end of our presentation. But let me get right to it. So Greenville Water overview, we service about 750,000 consumers. We have a permit capacity of 282 million gallons, 542 square miles of service area that we do, and over $4 billion worth of infrastructure in the ground that you can't see, and then the 2 plants and several pump stations and tanks. 3,200 miles of pipe, which puts us in one of the largest utilities in the United States as far as water. Some utilities have more pipe, but they combine water and sewer. And then we have 11 wholesale customers that we service. So I think a lot of people in Greenville are familiar with our watersheds. We have Table Rock, which is a 9 billion gallon reservoir. And if you look at it in sizes, it's about the size of a tennis ball compared to 2 baseballs for North Saluda, which is a 25 billion gallon reservoir. And then you compare that to the volleyball size of Kiwi, which we have 150 million gallon per day permit. They say it is a 296 billion gallon reservoir. I have no clue how big that is. I do know that it evaporates 65 million gallons per day, which is more water than we use in Greenville County right now. Recently, we were awarded I can't say the first word, but Exemplary Source Water Protection Award. One of the first utilities on the East Coast to get that is for our 30,000 acres of protected watershed around Table Rock and North Saluda. What sets us apart, and one of the reasons we got the award, is that our financial stewardship that we do throughout the company. We do the right thing, the right way at the right time for everything we do when we spend our ratepayers' money. Long-term land protection, I think in the 90s, we put all of the 30,000 acres into a conservation easement. Can never be developed, can never be sold. So the pristine water that we have in both of our reservoirs at the top of South Carolina are going to stay that way for life. I want to go over what we spend on capital improvement and maintaining the water system in Greenville. We have invested about $198 million to improve Greenville water assets located in the county. Our 26 capital budget is $80 million. Our 27 proposed budget is $85 million, and we have a 5-year capital plan for infrastructure of $495 million over the next 5 years. This is just a chart of the percentage of how we do it. The large part of our capital improvement is water lines and replacing older infrastructure that's in the ground at this point. Quick review of some of the ones in the districts that they affect in the county is $7.4 million pump station upgrade. This is a 1950s pump station. It works fine, but it is end of life, so we are replacing that. Phase 1 and Phase 2 60-inch transmission main that goes all the way from Kiwi to downtown Greenville at Green Avenue. Right now we have a 72-inch line in. We have just finished the 60-inch 13-mile line to have redundancy in the system, to have resiliency, and also to have full capacity. I said earlier, we have a 150 million gallon per day permit out of Kiwi. The 2 pipes in total can now service the full capacity of that plant. One of the big projects coming up is the Crosstown Main. It's a 48-inch water line that goes from J.L. Mann down to the Golden Strip. Very necessary because of the growth we're having in the southern Greenville County, also including one of our large wholesalers, which is Lawrence County. Lawrence County is one of our biggest customers that we service at this point. The downtown pumping station. Right now, we have 2 water plants, one north of Greenville and then one on Kiwi. Right, both plants cannot service the entire service area. This pump station is going to be situated downtown so that if we ever have to do maintenance on one or the other plants, we can service our whole customer base. So plant goes down, pump station comes online. Either plant can service every customer and keep us with DHEC requirements. Upper Whitehorse, improving the transmissions to the upper part of Greenville, the northeast of Greenville. This is, we have a large wholesale customer, Blue Ridge. So we are putting this in. It's a $24 million project. And you can see the district that it mainly serves. The Atkins Water Treatment Plant was built in the 70s. The pipeline, came online in the early 80s. We spend about $18 million on that this year to revitalize the basins, the filters, and the plant. We also are going to have a major upgrade to it in 2030, the 2030s from 30 to 35, $230 million to increase the plant to about 150 million gallons per day. Stovall plant, which is our north plant. We've got projects going on right now for about $12.5 million. They're supposed to wrap up in 2027. And that plant was built in 2000 in great shape. It was one of the first dissolved air flotation plants in the United States. It was actually the largest when it was built. It won multiple awards and is a great asset for Greenville. So one of the most important things that we're doing is our galvanized line replacement. In the past, we put in galvanized lines. So the life cycle of a galvanized line is about 20 years. The last one was put in 96. We still have galvanized pipe in the ground. In fact, we have 198 miles of it. In 2010, we had 500 miles of it. It is about 90% of the workload of my field operations crew due to leaks and replacement. So we are actually, we've committed $250 million over 10 years to get all of that pipe out of the ground to provide excellent service, quality, and sustainability for our consumers. A lot of it, as you can see, is in the outer reaches. There's a lot in the city also, but we are targeting to have all that out in the next 8 years. We've been on this project for over 2 years now. We spent, I think we're at $18 million this year over the 15. We're budgeting 20, and then in the coming years, we could be going to $25 million a year just in replacing this pipe. Those are just the major CIP projects that we have. One thing that I would like everybody to know is that our annual system maintenance cost is about, for 3,200 miles of pipe, we spend about $1 per foot per year just to maintain that pipe. That's exercising valves, exercising hydrants, making sure that if there's a leak, those leaks are fixed. That's about $14.4 million of the pipeline in the county. Not including city pipeline, but we're spending about $14.4 million maintaining our assets in Greenville County. That's a quick overview of how we're spending our revenue. The two things that I want to talk about, and then we'll get to the video, is that Hurricane Helene came through in 2024, devastating to the watersheds. The turbidity, which is the color of the water because of the dirt that came in from the landslides, the habitat destruction, and then just the enormous number of trees. Probably 100,000 trees came down because of Hurricane Helene. FEMA has estimated it at over $300 million worth of damage. We have about 100 miles of roads inside that watershed that the emergency response people use for fire breaks and to make sure that if a wildfire starts, we can put it out. And we've been working on clearing all of those fire breaks. FEMA hasn't helped so much. We're still working with FEMA to get money coming back in, but we have actually cleared most. These are some of the worst pictures of the road. The watersheds were impassable for over 6 months. That also led 6 months later, almost to the date, the Table Rock fire that we had was the largest fire in the United States at that time. 15,000 acres were burned. 9,000 of the Table Rock watershed was involved in that, and fire was supposedly caused by hikers on the top of Table Rock. This is how the fire spread day 1 through day 8. The fire lasted for 18 days. Greenville Water had crews from the first day to the last day on the fire, along with county, city, and other governmental people throughout the state on that. This is one of the big things is that fire spread so fast is because we had all the trees down and the brush down inside of the watersheds. And that the tree trunks were not completely dried, but the top of the pine trees and the other trees had completely dried. And whenever the fire hit that, you had major blazes. On the north side of Table Rock, the fire spread 450 acres in 5 minutes. On Thursday, when the winds were going, we had 40, 50 mile an hour winds on that day. Luckily, Friday, the winds went the other way. None of the structures were harmed in the watershed, plus no injuries, no deaths, and no property damage due to that fire. So this is a quick picture. We took a picture Easter of 24. That was just before the fire. You can see Easter of 25 on the north side. That was where most of the damage was done. The fire was so hot that it took out 1,200 acres of overstory. In other words, the top of the trees burned out, and those trees are in the process of being replanted now. We've got a reforestation CIP that we're doing. I don't think they were happy, but I had the guys walk to the top of Table Rock yesterday and take this picture just to show that how the watershed does heal itself. I think they actually enjoyed it, but I got a picture of showing that the watershed is coming back and with our help. This is just a preview of what you're about to see, but we've got a reforestation strategy that we're working with. We're monitoring vegetation, and we've continually monitored the water quality throughout the entire time. And I think somebody's going to start the video for me on the back side of the wall over there. Yes. And then we'll be available for questions. I have my staff here also with me.
Excellent. Thank you very much.
Where was I when Table Rock was on fire?
I got a phone call that Friday night asking if I could come out that Saturday morning. Didn't really know what to expect.
What is it going to be like? Is it dangerous? You know, leaving my wife and my family.
It was just a different animal. The Table Mountain fire was something I don't want to experience again. I got a call. I believe it was from Carl.
It looks like it might
said,
need to
"Hey,
be
there's smoke
Terrence
coming."
back there, or volume's all the way up, it looks like.
From the rock.
There it is.
And I was in Pickens. At one of my grandchildren's T-ball games, so loaded up the wives and said, "We got to go," and we headed this way, and you could see it.
You see the smoke driving in from, miles away, 30 minutes, an hour away. I get to the incident command post over at the Wesleyan camp near Table Rock State Park, and there's just thousands of people, hundreds of cars, dozens of bulldozers and other firefighting equipment. I mean, people from not only all across the state, but the region and the country are all here coming together.
Forestry Commission was on scene like immediately, and then all the local departments. Helicopter came the next day from SLED, National Guard. Then the State Light Command came, and they ran it until the federal team came in.
The Table Rock wildfire moved so quickly and burned with such intensity that fire officials brought in a greater resource, which was a DC-10 air tanker to make some retardant drops. Greenville Water was working closely with the same officials to make sure that none of the retardant ended up in the watershed in such a way that would contaminate the water supply.
We had some Greenville Water team members that assisted with disinfecting the buckets used by helicopters to scoop up water from our lake to then drop on the fire.
The first day, there was a couple of us that went up to the top of the rock, tried to get hand lines around the top area where the rock was. We had multiple planes dropping on top of us, helicopter dropping on top of us. So
I was primarily working on putting in a hand line, which is scraping all of that leaf litter to prevent the fire from escaping outside that line, trying to contain it to just the top of the rock. But unfortunately, that did not work.
But once it got off the rock, we knew it was no containing it then.
You know, I find Austin and we have our little crew and start these burnout ignitions. Tuesday of the burnout was once we finally reached the reservoir down here. It was David and I.
Me and Carl were coming in from North Carolina with DNR and some forestry folks trying to re-establish that dozer line on that northern boundary. We were in there for hours, and we did get one call on the radio just asking if we were okay, and they said they had jumped the lake, and we were like, okay, he means the river. But he meant the lake.
And about 4 p.m., David yells out to me. He's like, hey, Carson, come down here and check this out. I think the fire is all the way across the reservoir, which is not where we thought the wildfire was supposed to be. So I went down there, and it was so smoky across the reservoir that we couldn't really see it, but a big gust of wind came, blew the smoke away, and sure enough, I saw a little flame over there, which meant it had doubled in size right then. That whole fire changed at that instance. We had to evacuate all the surrounding communities over here.
Part of my job the following days was to be on watch out to make sure that fire didn't jump the line and reach a lot of development and homes that we have on this side.
We had a neighbor below us here that we sent 2 of our folks down because there wasn't enough fire crews to help everybody. So we sent 2 people down there, and they worked all day clearing out around that house. And when the fire got there and it backed up to it and went out because we helped them prep that area, the neighbor was very appreciative. She sent me a text message just, thank you so much. You helped us save our house. And it meant a lot. There was a lot of houses over there that we were really able to help contain that fire and save those houses. If our crews hadn't have been over there, I don't believe they would have had enough people to stop that fire from getting those houses.
A few days went by, and the fire did finally start to subside.
We were able to keep it off of us and off of our critical areas.
No structures were burned, no people were reported injured, so just really a big, wave of satisfaction over everybody.
Part of that as it winds down is it's like, oh man, we're just going to go, we kind of got to clean up from this now and look at what it's going to affect.
We have about 1,500 to 2,000 acres that did not leaf out in the canopy, so complete canopy mortality, which is going to be detrimental to certain species, especially in the short term. For instance, our brook trout, which we have one of the last native populations in the state.
When that fire came through, it killed a bunch of the overstory trees. So we went ahead and just cut some of those trees and got them in the stream. That creates more structure for fish and then shading as well. And then going back and doing live staking in the banks, just trying to get anything back to stimulate more of that growth to get more shading up over that creek and get that water temperature down. Brook trout have been extirpated in so many of their, native home waters. They've been pushed up into these headwater areas. They just don't have much habitat left. But a big way of doing that would be through the hatchery. The end goal when we finally bring brook trout into the hatchery is to have them breed, and we'll do that, somewhat artificially. And the goal is to just get as many hatched out as we can and, survive the fingerlings that we can re-release into the watersheds.
After the fire, we deployed a bunch of trail cameras to just monitor what the wildlife species are doing. And, the months following, we've seen a lot of bears, a lot of bobcats, different bird species, just seeing things flourishing again. It makes me happy. There's a lot of stuff happening within the watershed, and things will slowly get back to the way that they were. It may take some time. In addition to using trail cameras, we increase water sampling in the reservoir and all the streams.
Something that you normally do monthly is now being done weekly, because if there was something happening, we wanted to capture it as quickly as we could. Numbers never really changed. Metals, algae, turbidity, total organic carbon, which is great. This new data we're getting during the fire, after the fire, and to be able to compare the two and basically say, okay, we're good to go. Your water quality has not changed. Pre-fire, post-fire, is still safe to drink, which is a good feeling, for not only us, but for the people out there, knowing that they can still take pride in the water the Greenville Water provides for them on a daily basis.
Greenville Water has some of the best drinking water in the country, and that is due to the pristine nature of our watershed. So if our watersheds are thriving, then our drinking water will thrive as well.
It's important to have diversity of all types in the watershed, and we can actually use the wildfire to our advantage, like a clean slate, to create the ecosystems that we want.
Now we just get to be stewards of it and manage it in a way that, is hopefully sustainable for the future.
Greenville Water has progressed tremendously. Our sustainable future is not just water anymore. It's our property. This is 10,000 acres of natural habitat. When we see our land producing for the animals that are on it, then we know the water quality is going to be good. When you have a good ecosystem, you're going to have good water quality.
We finally moved from
unless we have some questions for me.
Well, first of all,
staff.
thank you very much for the presentation. I don't think a lot of people realize, well, number one, what goes on to protect their water, but especially when we have crises like the wildfires and what all has to still go on to get it maintained. So thank you for the presentation. I will open it up if anybody has any comments or questions they'd like to ask.
I did have one.
Councilor Shaw.
It was nice meeting you the other day on that issue we're dealing with. I remember a business guy telling me WIFI and WIFU, you know those terms?
Yes.
What's in it for you? What's in it for us? What do we need to know about our relationship with you, and what do you need to know about our relationship with you?
So our relationship is with our consumers. We've got 200,000 taps. We use every available resource to make sure that we are going to be one of the lowest price water providers in the country. In fact, there's a new study out of the top 500 utilities in the United States. Greenville Water is ranked 496, and 496 is good, because that means there's 495 water utilities who charge more than us. The four underneath us are well utilities that don't have to have treatment plants. So that is one of the main goals that my commission puts on us, to make sure that we have the most affordable water in the United States. And at this point, we're succeeding at that. We take advantage of grants, loans. We try to help out our ratepayers who can't pay their bills. We direct them to the right resources. So we do everything we can. We're still a business. We still have to maintain our infrastructure, which, as you can see, is pretty extensive and costly. But we're rated AAA, double AAA, three AAAs in our bond ratings, and that's another thing that we strive to do.
Thank you.
Anybody else? Councilor Mitchell?
I'd also like to thank you for the presentation. It's good to see things like this and know some of the behind-the-scenes stuff that's going on. I'm the council person for District 23, which goes through the heart of Greenville County and pretty much the heart of the city. And when you talked about your galvanized pipe replacement, I was going like, yes, yes. But I wanted to applaud you and also encourage you to continue to coordinate with the other agencies and entities around the county when you're doing your projects. I know on my street right now they're doing a sidewalk project and they're digging down, and first thing I did is I went to them. I said, did you contact the water department, the Piedmont Natural Gas, Duke Energy, all of them, to let them know what you're doing so that they could look at their records and their plans and say, oh yeah, well, we have plans for that area and we're going to do this, and we can get it all coordinated so we could dig it all up at one time, put it back together, and then we got a nice finished product. So I wanted to encourage you to continue to do that because I know you've already been doing it.
You're so right, and we have a meeting with the county engineers every year, and we see what their plan is. We've actually got a 5-year plan from them. We've got a 10-year plan, and we coordinate those, because what we don't want to do is have a big black patch in a brand new road because we didn't do it. So yes, we try that everywhere.
Anybody else? I'll just ask the question because I'm curious, but with concerning the growth in South Carolina overall and the fact that you service multiple counties, what do you see as the biggest challenges upcoming as far as what you do? Because I think that spills over into what the other entities have to deal with.
So what I tell people is Greenville Water is focusing on 4 major things. One is water supply. So Kiwi, North Saluda, Table Rock. There's supply there for 282 million gallons of supply. And if you run those numbers out, it's several million residents or several million population. So water supply, water treatment. We've got one of the most modern plants at Stovall at the top of the watershed, and we've got a plant on Kiwi that we are going to expand to 150 million gallons per day, and then it can be expanded again to 300 million. So water supply, water treatment, transmission. If you saw some of the capital improvement projects, we're making sure that we have the ability to transmit water from one end of the county to the other to all our wholesalers and to be a true regional provider, and then storage. The WAM tank and some of the tanks we have up, make sure that we have enough storage for fire. But those are the 4 major things that we are concentrating on. I like to tell people we're not into, distribution is done by the developers, and we take over those projects, and we're not really looking to add other utilities mistakes into our system. We occasionally help out, but those are the 4 major things that we're concentrating on. I see Greenville Water is positioned to be the premier water utility and supplier in the upstate for another 100 years. So,
perfect. Thank you very much. If there's nothing else, I appreciate the presentation very much. Thank you for coming.
Thank you for inviting us.
Absolutely. And that was on YouTube, right? That video?
Yes,
that's
it is.
accessible? Okay, perfect. Thank you very much. All right, next on the agenda, we're at County Council Employee Evaluations. This is a discussion only. We had discussed, obviously, about doing these evaluations for our 3 employees. And Councilor Shaw had some objections to the way it was being done, so I thought just to take a pause and have a discussion, he could address that, and we could talk about it as council how to move forward. So if there's anything Councilor Shaw would like to share, and then we'll go from there.
I've got nothing to share I haven't already shared in a letter.
Well, as far as us actually doing the evaluations, if you were not happy with the way we were doing it, how should we proceed? Or that's for
Well,
council too.
May I ask who's we? My understanding is you initiated a process.
No, we did.
Who's we?
The council.
Did council vote on that?
We talked about initiating the.
I didn't hear, I don't remember that in any kind of meeting.
Well,
I don't remember a vote. Council votes, council moves by voting on things. So that's, I mean, my understanding, and then I put it all in an email to y'all, so I said what I need to say.
Well, then I guess the discussion will be for the rest of the council then, is the way that we've discussed doing it suitable, or do we need to change it? I'm good to do it any way that we need to do it. It's more of just what is that way? And is it a legal problem for us to do it the way we're currently doing it? I guess would be a question for the attorney.
This is one of those positions, since I'm one of the people who could be positively or negatively affected by it, that I kind of have a conflict. I haven't recognized the legal issue, but I would say that if you truly worried about one, you'd probably need outside counsel, simply because I am one of the employees who's, there. And I don't want anybody saying, well, Antley was shading it a certain way because, his head was on the guillotine block or something, so.
Is there any suggestions on how we should move forward with it, the same way, or to do something different?
Mr. Chairman?
Oh, sorry. You sure? Okay. I was thinking about it, and I think it might be prudent maybe for us to call in maybe an HR specialist, just because this is the area it's in, and use what you have. But I think it would be good for us just to hear recommendations, how to move forward. Obviously, we hadn't done any reviews yet, so I think we're kind of at a starting point about how to do them, good practices, how we're going to store them, where they're going to be. Usually when you do them, they end up in HR, so I think we just need to get a pathway. And it might be, as Antley has, as he has said, somebody from the outside to give us some information on how to go forward from there. And that way we have a professional telling us what we can do based on our start. I think we got a good start, but I think it's something we're going to do long term, so that's why I think that might be prudent. And then that way we could use that information as council changes and go forward and establish a record keeping program and all that. So I don't know if y'all are open to that, but I just thought about that today. I thought it might be very good to get a professional in here and get some insight. And we don't have to adopt everything, but I bet there'll be some things we hadn't even thought about.
It's a great idea. Councilor Seaman?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I was sort of thinking along a similar lines. We actually have an HR department, and we have experts in the building, so we maybe even could start there. I'm also intrigued about the idea of entertaining outside counsel as support for that, because I do think that allows us to objectively review the people we're supposed to review without them having to handle any of the stuff. But I might suggest, that we meet with our own HR people. I mean, we clearly have a review process here in place. They have record retention and storage and things that would certainly be applicable, so that could also be a way to start.
And to add to that, both of my colleagues, I think also we have to, identify the job description, set a reasonable amount of goals, and then also have a self-feedback from the individual, and then we mesh that together. That way you cover expectations, requirements, and then a self-assessment, and then that's presented as well as part of that. That's just my input, but I agree with my colleagues.
Sure. Well, just on that, as we're discussing, is that something that we could have staff put something together for us to look at that for the next meeting? So we could, because I'm guessing we would need to go through a process for that, especially if we're hiring anything outside.
Yeah, I would think we could have something. We have a very good HR director. I would recommend we utilize him instead of spending more money. We do approximately 2,600 evaluations a year in this organization, so you're all doing 3 isn't going to move the needle, quite frankly. So I think it would be smart to sit down with Steve Moss and let him kind of guide you on how to do them. You know, for some of the 3, it makes a difference. For some, it doesn't. So, you know, it's just a matter of getting a system set up in place.
Okay.
Mr. Chairman,
Yes, Councilor Seaman.
Just one other thought too, and I know that, I mean, there's obviously 12 of us. I did like your idea of us all giving feedback. I mean, at the end of the day, the role of the chair, and maybe it's the chair and the vice chair, I mean, somebody has to actually deliver the actual review. And so I would have no problem if whatever system we set up, if we're all giving feedback at the end of the day, I feel like it's appropriate that the chair's role is to share the feedback to our employees.
Yeah, again, I'm good with either. The only reason that I agreed to do it is because it was in the contract worded that way. I'm completely okay with it being any outside of council that it needs to be, just so we can get it done properly. So before we move farther, any other discussion on it for now? Councilor Long?
Yeah, I think it's great to start with staff, but I still think we need to get a professional outside that's objective, that could look at things that we're doing and give something we might not even be thinking about. And I think it's a little bit different when you do elected official doing reviews versus employees doing reviews. And so there might be some nuances to the law about that. So I think we need to get a professional in here on that.
Okay.
Perhaps we could utilize SCAC or somebody else. I mean, clearly, other groups are doing this without us having to go spend money that we don't need to spend.
Right. Well, and to be clear, and I'll be happy to reach out to them too. I did reach out to them about the process, and they said that the way we were doing it, there's lots of other counties that do it that way. So, but at the end of the day, it's the 12 of us that need to decide. So I'd say if nothing else at the next meeting, maybe we have Steve from HR come in, even if it's not necessarily to utilize, but to consult first and then go from there. Does that sound reasonable to everybody? All right.
Yeah, and just for my colleagues' purposes, you know, if we have to, we come to a conclusion or consensus, then make an action item. That way we went through and we ratified it and put the policy in. I mean, basic.
Sounds good.
I would just ask as a follow-up that Councilwoman Seaman provides some type of support for the claim that that is a role of our chairman. I've heard comments that people are overworked, they've got too much to do, and taking on something that's not even a role that I can find support for, I'd ask that we just outsource that to somebody.
Could easily be the HR director then.
I'm sorry?
I mean, I said then it needs to be the HR director. I mean,
Well,
I
it
think
is, but
as a body though, I mean,
Yeah.
the purpose of the chair role is to help direct some of the activity. I don't know, I mean, I don't think it's in our policies. I'm just saying, I personally don't have a problem with it because we've elected him to be the head of this body for the time being. And so if we all give input, for 12 of us to sit here with our employees and give feedback each individually, I mean, it seems cumbersome. So to me, it just would make sense to find a way that we can give our feedback, but that there's just one person doing the delivery. If you'd like to be the delivery mechanism, that's fine with me too. I think it would just be unreasonable and unruly for all 12 of us to have a conversation at one time, but we should all have an opportunity to give some feedback. That's all I was saying.
Councilor Farmer?
Didn't we put these employee evaluations in our rules? Isn't that something that we voted on to put under the chairman?
I believe we did, and I don't know if it's actually in the rules or not, but that's coming out of the workshop. We had decided to do it for all 3, and I don't know if there was an action on it or not.
I could have sworn that we did put it in the rules because there was such a stink about it last year that we didn't end up doing an evaluation.
Right.
So that's what I'm just kind of like pretty sure that it's kind of a set in stone thing that we did all vote on. But maybe I'm wrong.
And I appreciate that, but the performance last year, it came up because Mr. Kern, our former chairman, had inserted a late-minute amendment to put a performance review into Mr. Cornell's contract, which is an employment contract. That's the only place it's ever come up. It's not in any of our rules. And when we get off of the track of the rules, it's like playing volleyball where everybody's trying to get under the ball and you know, professionals play volleyball where one guy hits it at a time, they set up things. We only take action by putting things on the agenda, letting the public know, debating it, voting on it. We didn't do that for this. It's not in our rules. So,
Okay, so it
Yeah.
wasn't in our rules, but it's in his contract, which we did vote on.
yes, that vote, that was
Okay.
approved. And that
Okay,
I said,
that's it.
Yeah,
That's
no,
it.
I agree. I brought it up. I said that in that, the particular language, whether it was meant to be that way or not, it said the chairman shall initiate that in that contract. That wasn't done. That was the whole controversy.
It's not currently in the contract.
It's not currently correct. It's not in the current contract.
Well, again, there's no use to really beat a dead horse over this because I said that there's no use to beat a dead horse over this, that it was something that we had decided as a body to go forward with, whether there was a vote or not, but it's not a problem, and we just regroup and we come up with a better way to move forward in the next meeting.
Point of information
Councilor McGahee?
for the attorney. I mean, is this something from a legal standpoint, as far as notification rules and all that, making sure we follow state law? Could we sit here and take a vote right now and say, yes, we want to do evaluations, and we take a 12-member vote? Are we breaking any laws or notifications?
I know you're going to hate this answer.
I'm asking. I either hate or like it. What's the
I'm
truth?
sitting in my, like, I have two competing things. I
I'm
want
with
a
you.
client that I want to help, and I have a
It's
professional
procedural.
responsibility issue where I'm one of the people that we're actually kind of talking about. So
Sure.
anything I say at this point could be deemed a conflict of interest.
Well, do you have
It
another
just-
lawyer that can come up and talk?
I don't need a lawyer.
All right. Well, I'm asking a procedural question, not a.
Mr. McGee, I would just say, just because we have no action items that we noticed on our agenda, I mean, we could suspend our rules on, I mean, we could kind of go through that exercise, which I don't really
Sure.
think we
I'm
totally
just-
need to, but I get where you're going with
I'm
that. but-
asking, is it something we actually have to, can we vote on that without having it on the agenda, I guess is what, I want to make sure we're not breaking any laws here. That's why I'm trying to find out.
I don't know about laws technically per the agenda. It probably wouldn't make sense because it did specifically say discussion only, since I knew we wouldn't have an action tonight. So,
And I will say, I'm not doing any of this out of technical reasons. I'm trying to get a process that's worth our time investing in. My understanding is, a lot of us already have found that it wasn't even worth our time to answer this at this point. That's worth our time.
Can you clarify?
Excuse me, I'm not done my.
Sure, go ahead.
Okay, that's worth our time, and that is going to be something that professionals recognize is the right, modern, state-of-the-art way to do evaluations. That's all I care about. I just don't want to spend my time on something that's just made up.
So was the evaluations as they were delivered that what they weren't suitable?
I make no comment on those. I make comment on the process of the overall evaluation. I'm not putting down anybody's effort. It looked like a very nice form, but it's, what if your doctor gives you a form that you go to a foot doctor and he gives you a form about, arms or something. There are experts out there that we can hire inexpensively to do this for us that take a lot of the trouble out of this. And I'm not even saying it's all legal. I'm just saying some of the things, like how is something confidential when you're turning the report over to one of the people you're evaluating? I love all of them up there, and I just question it. It's not confidential. It's not modern. It's not up to date. It could be. You could have hit a home run with that thing. I don't know. I don't think council even bought into it. The fact is, I don't even think council bought into that, based upon They were all due Wednesday, right? Were they all turned in on Wednesday? Or?
No, they weren't all turned in, but there's a lot of things that I'm not going to go into detail with each council member to where sometimes they couldn't turn them in, or they hadn't finished them yet.
How long did you give them to turn them in?
Same amount that I did you. We
Right.
all went out at the same time.
Did anybody turn them in?
Yes.
So it's very possible to fill it out. Did anybody turn in a quality one?
Yes.
So it's you've gotten quality ones by busy council people who found the time to do it. The fact is, 12 of us didn't buy into that, and it's provable because of the result of how many got turned in.
I completely disagree with that. I feel like I didn't because your email question started a broader conversation, and then knowing we were going to talk about it here, I'm like, well, I'm just going to wait, and whatever the outcome of this meeting was would give me an opportunity then to do it. But that doesn't mean I didn't
Well,
buy into it, so.
I appreciate that. I appreciate if y'all don't blame me for this. Y'all are just as much a 1 of 12 as I am. You don't have to listen to me. I'm just one
It's not a
guy.
matter of listening to you, it's a matter of we're a body, so that's why I decided to have the conversation here, so we could all work through it in a normal way and just move forward. It's not that big of a task to get it figured out, so let's just figure it out and move forward.
I agree.
Mr. McGahee, I did want to finish answering you with where I didn't, which would be if you wanted to add something new at this point, FOIA would require 3 things, 2/3 vote, but he'd also require it's an emergency or an exigent circumstance at this point to add it. And without trying to opine on the whole situation, it doesn't strike me as something that's going to meet that standard.
Exactly what I need. Thank you very much.
Well, then, I would make a suggestion then that we move this to the next Cal meeting for discussion and see if we could have Steve possibly come in, not necessarily to say that the HR person's going to do it, but we could start the process of asking the questions and whatever we need to do to get a plan together that everybody likes. Sound good to everybody?
And I'm not trying to beat a dead horse, but to Kelly's point versus that idea, is not the HR director under our county administrator, which I love Joe as much as everybody, but is he not under the county administrator?
Well, I'll go back to this point the same way that you did earlier, is that that's your opinion, it's Kelly's opinion, but I'd say that
That's an opinion whether somebody is.
No, it's an opinion whether that's the best route to take or not.
I didn't say that. My question was, isn't he under the administrator? He's a direct, so you're asking somebody who is under the guy we're evaluating to come in here, and, those are the kind of things that kind of make me not settled with myself.
Well, I think the point is to get to the next meeting and have this time to decide how we would like to approach it, which would include talking to experts. And so if an HR person is an expert, whether we use them or not, for them to come to Cal and talk about it would seem like a reasonable step. Is that fair?
Yeah, that's fair.
Okay. That's the only thing I'm talking about is doing. I'm not saying we're going to do anything with him from that point moving forward.
Could we just, Mr. Chairman, if I may, Madam Clerk, if you could just ensure that for the next scheduled meeting, we have an action item on here so we can take action on this and actually make a vote and get this, whatever we do, get something going, please. And I'm sure you can get with the chairman there and decide how that looks or whether the language is, or I'll help, but I just want to make sure we have something on the next agenda so we don't fall into this thing again, whatever we're in right now.
All right. Well, if there's no other discussion, there'll be one final motion.
Motion to adjourn.
All in favor?
Aye.
We're adjourned.